Hi, how are you? Ready for phrasal verbs? Hi,
Hi, Michaela.
how are
Is it
you?
Michaela or Michelle? Which one?
Michaela. Michaela.
Michaela.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michaela. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. Is your name Nihan?
Yeah.
Nihan. All right. Very nice to meet you. I don't think I've seen you in another class, have I?
Maybe once a time, but I don't remember actually.
I love your picture. Your picture's great.
Thank you.
It's really interesting. And Maria Therese Borges? Hi. How are you? Oh, Maria, your microphone is muted. You have to click the red button in the top.
Hi.
There we go. Hi, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm doing very well. Glad to have you guys in class. So let's do some quick introductions and then we will get into phrasal verbs. My name is Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I've been teaching English for about 3 years. So I'd like to hear about you guys. I've had Juan in class before, but I don't think I've met the two ladies yet.
Sorry,
So-
Michaela. Is this sound came from Maria? Because I hear twice my voice.
I think Maria might have two verbling tabs opened. Right?
Sorry?
I think you have two verbling tabs open, and sometimes that creates an echo. So if anybody has two verbling pages open, close the main page. Don't close this page, close the other one. That should stop the echo. Maria, do you have two pages open?
Sorry?
Do you have two verbling pages open?
Sorry, I don't understand.
The main page of verbling, close it. So you only see one verbling page.
How double page?
Do you have? I don't know.
Sorry, Michaela.
Yeah.
You may have several browsers open. If you go to the taskbar of your computer.
Uh-oh.
Actually, 5 minutes playing.
Okay, well, how about we can... Maria, is it okay if you mute yourself when you're not talking? Okay, well, we'll just move on. So we'll do quick introductions. Juan, would you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Juan. I'm from Costa Rica.
Tell us how the weather is or something else about yourself.
Well, today it's 5 p.m. here. It's rainy, finally. It's a little bit cold. We had a very large, long summer.
Mm-hmm.
So some rain is always welcome, at least for me.
Definitely.
And one more day in class. I'm very happy and ready to learn those phrasal verbs.
Awesome. And Nihan, will you tell us where you're from and something about yourself?
I'm from Turkey, and the weather is nice here. It's a little bit rainy, but it's hot. I'm living in a seaside country, city, and it's a little bit sticky because of the rain. About phrasal verbs, oh my God, phrasal verbs are my nightmare. It's very difficult for me.
All right, well, that's perfect for today then. So first thing I have for us is a review of some simple concepts about phrasal verbs. It might seem a little beginner level, but I think it's good to review these concepts before we go on. So first, open the phrasal verb page. I've got two links. One is the phrasal verb page, and the other says never enough phrasal verbs. Do you guys have both of those?
Yeah, I've got.
Okay, so open the phrasal verb page, and we're going to read these paragraphs together. Can I have Nihan read the first paragraph for us?
Sure, my pleasure. Phrasal verbs are usually two-word phrases consisting of verb plus adverb or verb plus preposition. Think of them as you would any other English vocabulary. Study them as you come across them, rather than trying to memorize many at once. Use the list below as a reference guide when you find an expression that you don't recognize. The examples will help you understand the meanings. If you think of each phrasal verb as a separate verb with a specific meaning, you will be able to remember it more easily. Like many other verbs, phrasal verbs often have more than one meaning.
Okay, so I think that phrasal verbs is one of the most difficult things about English because there are just so many, and every phrasal verb can have multiple meanings, and the best thing for it is practice. Let's continue. Can I have Juan read the part about transitive?
Sorry, that one I don't have the link. I have for the other one.
Okay, I'll send you the link then.
Okay, sorry about.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, great.
Oh, I see. Sorry, you told me in the chat box and I didn't see it in time.
No problem.
Okay. Hey, we have a new student too. Alexi?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi everyone.
How do I say your name?
Alexi.
Alexi. Okay. Nice to meet you, Alexi. Where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have our notes open for phrasal verbs?
Never enough?
It's in the verbling chat box. Do you see?
Never enough phrasal verbs.
Okay. No, hold on. That's the right page, but we're a little down farther.
What page?
So that's the second page we're on. So the first page is in the verbling chat box, and I'm going to put it in the Google chat box. in case that's what you're looking at. Do you see it? Good?
I have two files.
That's
Phrasal
perfect.
verbs and never enough phrasal verbs.
Right now, we're looking at phrasal verbs. So open
Okay.
that one. And
Yes.
Juan, are you ready to read?
Yes.
Okay.
Just tell me where Nihan left off.
The transitive. It begins with transitive. First one.
Okay, where it says number 1, transitive.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you, Nihan. Transitive takes an object, something, or someone to complete meaning. To hand in. Tom handed in the homework. Object would be the homework.
Mm-hmm.
To look for. She is looking for her right shoe. Object, shoe.
Awesome. Alexi, are you ready to read?
Yes.
Okay, read intransitive.
Intransitive. Doesn't take an object to complete meaning. To fall through. Our plans fell through. Sorry. Mm, 1 second, please.
That's okay.
Somebody called me in the Skype and
You have to shut down the Skype or other application.
Yeah. My computer is okay. To fall through, our plans fell through. No object. To go back, he went back to Brazil. No object. To stand up, he stood up. No object. If a phrasal verb is transitive, takes an object, it can either be separable or inseparable.
Okay. Nihan, will you read A, separable?
Okay. Separable. The object can go after the particle or between the verb and particle. For example, to hand in. To hand it the homework in. To hand it in the homework. The same. To take off. I took off my gloves off. I took my gloves off. I took off my gloves.
Okay, so that one we have the option of putting it between the words or after the phrase. Juan, will you continue where it says the phrasal verb golden rule?
Yes. The phrasal verb golden rule. If you use an direct object pronoun, me, you, him, her, it, us, them, the phrasal verb must be separated, going between the verb and the particle. The correct, Tom handed it in. I took them off. The incorrect way, Tom handed it. No, one more time. Tom handed in it. I took off them.
Okay, and that just the only way to tell is by saying it. So if you're familiar with phrasal verbs, you might be able to say Tom handed in it, and it sounds funny. If you're not familiar with it, then unfortunately you're not really going to know that it sounds funny. Inseparable. Let's have Alexi read that part.
Inseparable. The object must go after the particle. Examples. To look for. I'm looking for a house. Not I'm looking a house for. To come across. He came across a good book at the store. Not he came a good book across at the store.
Okay. And I will read the very last part. Separable or inseparable phrasal verbs. Some dictionaries tell you when phrasal verbs are separable. If a dictionary writes look something up, you know that the phrasal verb look up is separable. And you can say look something up and look up something. Both are okay. It's a good idea to write something, somebody as appropriate in your vocabulary book when you learn a new phrasal verb, like this: get up, break down, put something off, put somebody off, turn something down, turn somebody down. Okay, so sometimes only something is applicable and sometimes only somebody is applicable. So hopefully you guys knew some of that already. If you didn't, these are great notes to review when you're practicing phrasal verbs. And we might refer back to them later on in class. But for now, we're done with this page. Now we're going to use never enough phrasal verbs. Does everyone have never enough phrasal verbs open?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay. So, never enough phrasal verbs. The first section, we're going to make phrasal verbs with the words you see. So you're going to take one word in the first box and connect it with a word in the second box and tell me what it means. I'm going to ask each of you to give me a few of them. Let's start with Alexi. Will you give me one phrasal verb?
Okay. Give away. To
And what
give
does that
away.
mean?
To explain a secret.
Could be, yeah. What else could it mean?
Something similar. To tell somebody something, maybe that he or she doesn't allowed to know.
All right, perfect. Kwan, will you give me another phrasal verb?
Yes. Okay, that'll be for, are we using the blanks or just
No, right now we're just brainstorming different phrasal
Okay.
verbs we can make from the vocabulary set.
okay. Look around.
And what's look around mean?
When you want to express the action of like sightseeing a place.
Perfect. Nihan, will you give me one?
Go over.
And what does that mean?
Kind of checking something, examine something very carefully.
Awesome. Okay, do you see any others? Now I'm going to ask everyone to give me as many as they can. So make any other phrasal verb you see. There's a lot of them. So hopefully we'll get a few.
Canton.
So I'll make this a little simpler. Let's try and come up with all the phrasal verbs possible here for the word go. We'll focus on go.
Go on.
Go
on.
Go
Go
out.
on.
Okay. Sure. What
No,
else?
go on.
Go on.
To continue. Yes.
Exactly. What else?
Go out.
Go
Go
out.
out.
Perfect. What else?
But what does it mean?
Go out.
It seems that we can combine almost every word from one part with any word from second part.
That's true, but
Yeah.
some of them are more complicated than others. So for instance, go out. You could say to go out of a room. That's very simple. But you could also say,
Kind of dating.
yes, like dating. I'm going out with that boy. So I'm dating that boy. So it has more than one meaning, and it's a little more complicated than just the preposition with the phrasal with the verb. So what we're looking for here are words that mean something more than what it seems. So to go out of a room is very simple, but to go out with a person is a little more complicated because nothing in the word go or out would suggest dating. Nothing. But because it has that meaning, it has developed the meaning of dating, it's a phrasal verb. It's a little bit different than both of the words combined. Do you see? Okay. So what else can we put together with go?
Go, I mean that we can go over, go up, go around, go about, go away, go on, go after, go under, go out, go in. Is it true?
Yes, it's true, but I'm going to...
I just listed them.
That's true, but some of them are not exactly phrasal verbs because go up literally means to go up. It doesn't have a phrasal verb meaning. It's just a verb combined with a preposition. A phrasal verb is a verb that's combined with a preposition to be a new verb. So go up isn't really a phrasal verb, although technically it is a verb plus a preposition.
But in my dictionary, right now I found I can make example. A cheer went up from the crowd as the queen stepped into the shore.
Alexei, in my opinion, we are now trying to find the common ones.
Common, just common, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone knows go on or go over, go out, but actually I don't know go up kind of phrasal verb, another different meaning. I don't know.
So, Alexei, does your dictionary give the definition for the phrasal verb go up?
Yes.
What
For
is it?
example, it equals blow up.
Blow up?
Blow up.
Blow up is a phrasal verb. Right now we're not looking for phrasal verbs with blow, but we will do that later. It's actually in one of the next verb sets. So hold on to that one and try to give me phrasal verbs that go with the words we're looking for. I say we move on to give. So let's try and come up with give phrasal verbs.
Give up.
Okay. What else?
Give out.
Okay. What else?
Give away.
Uh-huh. More?
Give in.
Uh-huh. And what does give in mean?
To surrender.
Mm-hmm. What about, can I say give under? Is that possible?
I don't hurt.
No, it's not possible. What about give around? Is that possible?
I don't know. I don't hurt.
It's not a common one. You might be able to say like give around, something like pass around, but it's not common. So I would say that that's not a good combination, but you could use it maybe. How about give on? Is that a phrasal verb?
No.
Nope, not a phrasal verb. Okay, let's move on to look.
Look after.
Okay, and what does look after mean?
Kind of, if I don't remember wrongly, kind of take care of something, looking after baby or child.
Yeah, to take care of someone, or to
Look
pay
about.
attention to. Did you have another one?
Look about.
Look about. So what does look about mean?
To seek. Seek.
Yeah, to seek. Similar to look around. Look about and look around are similar. Look about is actually like a British English phrasal verb. Just for you guys to know, usually Americans wouldn't put that together. We would say look around. But that's
Yeah.
just a comment on vocabulary differences. Any others?
Look on.
Okay. What else?
Look for.
Kind of,
Look for.
pardon. Kind of an audience looking an event.
Mm-hmm.
And can we say also look over? Look around someone.
So are you asking if look over and look around are phrasal verbs?
Yeah, is it correct to say?
You can say look over, and look over can mean two things. It can mean literally to look over something, or it could mean to review something. Like if I look over a text, it means I'm reviewing the text. I'm reading it, probably looking for errors or something.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions about look? If feel free to ask. If you think that you can't combine it with something but you're not sure, definitely ask that too. Anybody? No? Okay. How about push? What verbs can we combine with push?
Push on.
Push on. Okay. What else?
Push away.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Push out.
Okay. Anything else?
Push under.
Okay. Well, you can. Some of these are they're just very literal. So, like push something under the bed. And in that scenario, is that phrasal verb a separable or inseparable word?
Separable. Push
Separable.
something
So
under.
push something under.
Kind of hiding, or it's meaning kind of hiding something, covering something, or
It doesn't really have an extra meaning. It just means exactly what the verb and the preposition mean. So if I push something under, it would be hiding something, but it doesn't necessarily, I can't use it figuratively because some of these words have literal meanings and figurative meanings, like we just talked about with look. So look up could mean literally to look in the direction of up, and that's the literal meaning, or it could mean to look up a word in a dictionary, which is more figurative because I'm not directing my eyes towards the sky in order to find a word in a dictionary. So it's a figurative meaning. But push under, it just has one meaning and it's literal. There's no figurative meaning.
okay. Thank
Does
you.
that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions about push? Or any other words you guys can combine with it? What is a pushover? Do you guys know what a pushover is? It's a noun, actually.
Push over.
A pushover.
Is it the exercise?
Nope.
No,
That's-
that's push-ups.
Yeah.
Kind of top of something. Push over.
Nope. Pushover is somebody who's very easy to convince. Like if I have a friend and I always make this friend do whatever I want, I can say, "Oh, come on, Maria. Will you drive me to the store? Will you buy my groceries?" She's a pushover because she accepts my will. She does what I want. She is not a strong person. She's a weak person. Yeah, so she's a pushover because she's weak and she doesn't enforce her will or her wants, her needs. She doesn't force them. So she's a pushover. Let's move on to sit. What can you combine with sit?
Sit. Sits. Sit around.
Okay.
I want to ask you a question about one word.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying a hard copy. What does it mean, the hard copy mean in English?
A hard copy? The word you're asking about is hard copy? Is that it?
Yes.
Like this? A hard copy is when
Yes.
something is actually
Yes.
in your hand. So this is a hard copy because it's printed. Something that's on your computer is not a hard copy.
Soft copy.
Yeah, soft copy. We don't really say soft copy, but if it's not in its physical form, if you can't hold it in your hand, then it's not a hard copy. Okay? We have a couple new students.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Ben. How are you?
He's gone.
Oh. Man? Is that how I say your name? Man? Man Torjaman?
Yes, man.
Hi. Would you like to tell us where you're from?
Yes. You are the first person who said it correctly.
Yay!
I'm from Saudi. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm 22 years old, and as you know, I'm learning English, and I'm also planning to learn Spanish, but I'm not that good at it.
We're glad to have you here. How long have you been learning English?
Thank you.
Do you see the notes we're looking at?
Like 1 year.
There seems to be a delay.
Who has a cat?
No.
That would be me. Do you see her?
Yeah.
Love your cat.
Sorry, she's a little
cute.
loud sometimes.
What's her name?
Chiquita.
Chiquita.
Yeah.
Chiquita.
It's
She
Juan.
loves something.
Yeah, Juan, do you know what? I mean, I'm sure that you know. Would you explain to the class what Chiquita means?
It's the little girl in Spanish.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My mom is a Spanish teacher, so she named her.
Chiquita.
Yes. Okay, Man, do you have the notes that we're looking at?
Sorry. No.
Okay, I'm going to put them in the Verbling chat box for you. Do you see them? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
There's also, we looked at some other words earlier here, but we're using the first set. So you'll only need the first set right now, but later, if you want to review those rules, that might be useful for you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Awesome. So we're at the first set of vocabulary words, and I believe we left off on sit, right? Sit. So what words can we combine with sit to make a phrasal verb?
Sit up.
Uh-huh.
Sit around.
What else?
No,
Sit around. You can say sit around. What does sit around mean? Anybody know?
To sit in any seat. To sit on any seat. Sorry.
Yeah, kind of.
Starting doing something, kind of.
Not really. Sit around means like you're being lazy. So if someone is sitting around the house, it means they're being very lazy and not really doing much. So
Okay.
maybe you sit down and you go somewhere else and you sit down again. It's like you're just being very lazy. Any other sit phrasal verbs?
Like couch potato.
Yes, much like a couch potato. Sitting around is what couch potatoes do, for sure. What other prepositions can we combine with sit?
Sit under.
Okay.
Sit the rocket.
Sit what?
To set the rocket on, to launch it.
I think you're thinking of set, like set off a rocket, right?
Yes, sir.
Right, that's S-E-T, set off.
Okay.
Anything else with sit?
We can use the easy meaning, sit down.
Sit down is possible. So what's the difference between sit down and sit up? What does sit down mean? And what does sit up mean?
But it's not a phrasal verb.
Sit down when you are using like chair.
Okay. And sit up?
Sit up when you are I'm sorry, I don't know it.
So it's interesting because sit down is very literal. It means you sit down. But sit up is not the opposite of sit down. Sit up means you straighten your back and you give yourself good posture, but it doesn't mean to stand up. Stand up is the opposite of sit down. But sit up just means that you, instead of sitting hunched over, you sit up. Okay? Okay. Any other ones? Okay, let's move on to the next verb, point.
Sit at.
Sit at. So what does sit at mean?
To sit at a specific location.
Okay. So like to sit at the table means you're literally sitting at the table. Let's move on to point. Does anyone have a phrasal verb for point?
Point out.
What does point out mean?
To make let's say to make an observation.
Comment. Make or write a comment.
Yes, make a comment, make an observation of a specific topic or issue.
What else?
For point out or another one?
Do you guys see any others for point, or would you like to move on to the next verb?
Let me check. Over.
So what does point over mean?
Similar to point out, but referring to a specific item. Point over the wall.
Okay, all right. So you might be able to say that. Again, that's a very literal sense. So we're pointing over the wall. But some of these that you guys are talking about are actually just normal verbs that are combined with prepositions. And I don't want you to have difficulty because some of these verbs are just normal verbs, so something like point over is not necessarily a phrasal verb because point over isn't something, it's not its own phrase. So you're pointing over a wall, or you can point to something. You're using the verb point and a preposition, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is a phrasal verb. It counts as a phrasal verb because you are combining a preposition and a verb, but it's not a very important phrasal verb because it's very literal in its meaning. The more difficult phrasal verbs and the more important ones to us are verbs that take on a new meaning. So something like look up or like pushover we talked about before. Those take on a very different meaning because the verb push and the verb over, or the preposition over, don't mean the same thing as when you put them together. So those are probably the more important ones for us to talk about because the literal ones are very simple and very easy, and I'm sure all of you already know a lot of them. But the more figurative ones are a little more difficult. So let's move on to count and give me some that have more figurative meanings, not literal meanings.
With point?
No, with count.
Count. Count on.
Okay. And what does count on mean?
Kind of to relying someone, to depend on someone. I'm counting on you.
Okay. Any others?
Count in.
What does count in mean?
To take into consideration, or to let's say, can I use an example of an expression?
Sure.
Counting the dangers of this action.
I actually think the phrase you're looking for is take into account. Take into account. Because count in is not exactly, I might understand what you were saying, but it's not a common usage. I don't think you would hear most people using it, but to take into account is. And it means exactly what you were just describing, which is to make note of something, like to take into account a problem or something like that. It's exactly what you were saying.
Okay.
Any others for count? I see count out and count up. Those are actually, they mean basically the same thing. So to count out money would mean to count out loud, like to say, okay, 1, 2, 3. That's to count out. So you're saying it out loud, count out. And count up, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're saying it out loud, but just to count up something just means to count. I'm not really sure why we use a phrasal verb there, but it's common to say count up. And that's, I think that's it for count. You can't say count away or count under. I mean, you can, but there's no figurative meaning. So I could say, I'll count under the bed. But that means exactly what I said. I'm going to count under the bed. So it's not really a phrasal verb in the sense that they don't combine. They're just two separate words that are next to each other. Build. Let's combine build with some prepositions.
Build up.
Build up. What else? Is there any others?
I think no.
Basically, no. Most of them don't combine with build. The only other one that might combine is build on. But that's again very literal, meaning there's not really a figurative meaning to that one. Okay, so now I think we have pretty much found them all. We're going to fill in the blanks. So find some phrasal verbs to fill the spaces in the following sentences. Number 1, let's have Nihan. Will you read it and try to answer it for us?
Sure. Number 1, the firefighters fought the blaze while the crowd look
Could be.
on.
Yeah. So there's multiple answers to most of these, but look on is perfect verb to fit that place. 2. Let's have Juan.
Okay. Will be. We all felt so tired after the first hour of walking, but our guide told us we had to blank if we wanted to make the inn by nightfall. Okay.
This one's difficult.
To look around.
So in order to arrive at the hotel, they have to look around. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not really. It's grammatically okay, but the meaning doesn't really make sense.
Unless you're very bad with directions.
Yeah, exactly. Does anyone else see what might fit there? I'm not sure if we...
Kind of pressure, kind of pushing something, but push what? I cannot find it.
Okay. Well, let's try. Not push over, right? What about push on? Exactly. Push on. So, we all felt so tired after the first hour of walking, but our guide told us we had to push on if we wanted to make the inn by nightfall. Perfect. I think that is probably the only phrasal verb that is appropriate in that blank. A lot of these have multiple phrasal verbs, but for number 2, push on is, I think, the only phrasal verb that works. Number 3, Alexi.
While the office computer system was being fixed, there was nothing to do, so we just I don't know.
Does anybody else see?
Any tips?
You have mentioned with sit around,
Sit
to be
around?
lazy, to do nothing.
Sit around works very well. So to do nothing, to be lazy, they couldn't work, so they just did nothing. They sat around. That's perfect. Any other ones you guys see? This one has multiple. There's a couple more that might work. You could say gave up. Like our computer system was being fixed and there was nothing to do, so we gave up. Like we gave up working, we gave up the day, we just stopped, we quit.
Can we use look around?
Sorry, teacher. Can you explain me, please, what is our purpose right now in this comprehension?
Right now?
For example, if I don't know these phrasal verbs, how can I fill that gaps? I don't know that phrasal verbs.
Well, we just talked about almost all of the phrasal verbs that we can possibly make with the vocabulary above. We talked about a lot of the different verbs we can make.
Yes.
And now we're using those verbs to fill in the spaces below.
But it is impossible to remember all of them so
Well,
quickly.
do your best, and if you can't come up with an answer, then I'm sure that one of your classmates is happy to help you, and I think that if you didn't remember them from when we talked about them originally, now you definitely will, because now when we fill in the spaces, you'll have a good example for how to use that phrasal verb. So it might be frustrating, but
Can
hopefully,
I say something
yes, please.
to Alexi? If the end of the class I learn at least three phrasal verbs, this class for me is a success.
I hope you feel like we're actually learning, and I really hope that by the end of class you'll have several more phrasal verbs than you did to begin with.
Maybe three is enough for me, because I know the phrasal verb is not a regular one. We have to all practice it always and always. Just the purpose is this, Alexi. I guess.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
There is
But-
nothing any way to learn them another way.
Excuse me, please. Sorry, but I can't really understand what are we doing now. Because I can easily get explanation. I can easily get translation of any phrasal verb. What are we discussing? What is the meaning? Look after, look over. I can easily do it, but we
I
must
think
to practice. We must to
Okay.
do it in another direction.
Would you prefer that we make up our own sentences to go with different phrasal verbs? Is that
Yes.
better?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Is
hard.
anyone else in favor? No?
No, I'm disagree because we cannot control the class that way. It's a hard one.
Let's try and finish a few more sentences, and then before we end, because we have about 7 minutes left, before we end, I'll ask everyone to come up with a couple of their own creative sentences to go with some phrasal verbs. So that way we get a little bit of both. And the next hour that I'm teaching is more phrasal verbs, so we'll have plenty of time to do both. If you want to join the next class, we'll have more time to make up sentences and more time to go over different phrasal verbs. I have more vocabulary sets. I can answer any questions you guys have, and hopefully we'll be able to find a balance between what you guys are looking for. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Okay.
Can I join? Like in the half of the class?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, thank you.
So next sentence is 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, we did 3. How about 4? Whose turn was it? Was it Juan's turn?
Yes.
Okay, Juan, go for it.
If you don't know what the word means, Jenkins, blank, it, blank in the dictionary. Look it up.
Perfect. Look it up. 5. Is it? I think it's Nihan's turn, right?
Okay. 5. I cannot understand what you are talking about with this design. Can we go over it again?
Perfect.
Check it. Or
Yeah, look over or go over. Perfect. Those are both great. And Alexi, would you like to make up a sentence for us?
I don't know. Really.
Okay, would you like to try number 6 then?
Me?
Yes.
Number 6. I don't know. Really, I don't know. I'm here because I don't know a lot of. I don't know a lot of phrasal verbs.
I'm not sure because I think you joined a little bit late, so I think you might have missed the beginning part of class, which would have been really helpful for you. I would suggest looking over the notes that we read in the beginning of class, which is, I think you definitely missed that part, and try to make lists of as many phrasal verbs as you can see in the vocabulary boxes.
He can also watch later
Yeah, you can also watch what the beginning of class later. So hopefully you'll be able to get some of that information back and maybe get a little bit more from these practice sentences.
look over is another phrasal verb, right?
Look over.
Okay.
In the meantime, Alexi, would you read sentence 6?
Sorry, go over and look over is the same meaning?
Yeah, basically the same meaning.
Okay.
Go over
Thank
go over is a little bit more general. Look over is something with your eyes. So look over is maybe reading something to do with your eyes. But go over could be anything. So if you're an actor and you have to go over a scene, it might mean that you're speaking and not necessarily looking. So in that situation, you can't use look over, but you can use go over.
Okay.
So go over is just a little more broad, a little more general.
Okay, thank you.
So sentence number 6, who wants to read that one?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Am blank Julie to arrive with the stereo. Otherwise, we won't have any music for the party.
Okay, and what might fit there?
I know.
Counting in?
Yeah, counting on, I think.
Exactly. You were very close. So count on. So depend on someone, to count on. So she's counting on Julie for the stereo. She's depending on her. Okay. We will do one more sentence and then I'm going to end class so that I can start the next class.
Okay.
Sentence number 7. Nihan, would you like to do that one for us?
Okay. Stop slouching in the chair like that. Can you please explain the meaning, the verb slouching?
Slouching is when you have bad posture or when you're bent over sitting. So slouching is like when you hunch your shoulders. I'm doing it right now. And you've got kind of a bad way of sitting.
Okay.
So the opposite of that would be?
Stand up? No, sit up.
Exactly. Sit up is the opposite of slouch. So sit up is straight back. Perfect. All right, guys. I'm going to end class here for now. Thank you for coming and participating.
See you soon.
See you soon. I'm doing another class pretty much the same as this. So if you enjoyed this one, join the next. Bye, guys. Thanks.